Once upon a time, there were two brothers. The elder brother was very rich, while the younger one was very poor. As the new year approached, the younger brother found his cupboard empty with nothing to celebrate. He decided to visit his wealthy brother and beg for some food. When the younger brother arrived at his elder brother's house, the rich man looked at him with disdain, wrinkling his nose. "Here, take this sweet potato," he sneered, "and don't ever come back. Even if you go to the gates of hell, don't ask me for help again." With a heavy heart, the poor brother took the potato and left. As he walked home, darkness fell and soon he realized he was lost. Just when he thought things couldn't get worse, he spotted a faint light in the distance. Thinking there might be someone to ask for directions, he walked toward it. To his surprise, he found a stone tablet engraved with the words "Gates of Hell." Before he could react, a group of ghosts swarmed toward him, their eyes fixated on the sweet potato in his hands. "Give us the potato," they demanded. The poor man was terrified but managed to say, "No, this is all I have for the new year." One small ghost tugged at his sleeve and whispered, "Give me a piece of the potato and I'll tell you a secret." The ghost told him, "When they ask for the potato, don't take gold or silver in exchange. Ask for the millstone at the back instead." The ghosts continued clamoring for the potato, and with the little ghost's advice in mind, the poor brother said, "All right, I'll trade you the potato, but only if you give me that millstone." Grumbling, the ghosts had no choice but to agree. They gave him the millstone, and the poor man left the gates of hell carrying his strange prize. Before he could leave, the small ghost caught up to him and said, "To use the millstone, tap the top 3 times and it will give you anything you wish. To stop it, tap the bottom 3 times." Grateful, the poor man broke off a piece of the potato and gave it to the small ghost. When he arrived home, he wiped the millstone clean and asked his wife what she wanted for the new year. "If only we had some meat for the feast," she sighed. Poor man tapped the top of the millstone 3 times and said, "Millstone, did you hear that?" With a creak, the millstone began to spin and pieces of meat started appearing. Once they had enough, he tapped the bottom 3 times and the millstone stopped. The next day, the poor couple invited their neighbors and relatives to a grand feast. Everyone was amazed at the food, but none more so than the rich brother, who grew jealous. He went to the poor man and demanded to know how he had suddenly become so prosperous. To be honest, the younger brother explained the whole story, including his visit to the gates of hell. The rich brother, consumed with envy, insisted on borrowing the millstone. Reluctantly, the poor man agreed. The rich brother grabbed the millstone and ran back to his house. Eager to test it out, the rich brother placed the millstone on his table and said, "I want a pot of meat soup." He tapped the top 3 times and soon the millstone started spinning. Soup flowed out, filling every container, pot, and bowl in the house. But the millstone kept turning, and soon the floor was covered with soup. The rich brother panicked. "Stop!" he yelled, but he didn't know how to make it stop. Terrified, the rich brother rushed to his poor brother's house, begging him to help. "Please, make it stop. My house is drowning in soup." The poor brother chuckled and said, "I can't stop what's not mine, unless you return the millstone." Defeated, the rich brother agreed. The poor man returned to his brother's house and tapped the bottom of the millstone 3 times, finally stopping it. He took the millstone back home, where he lived happily with his wife, never wanting anything again. One day, a salt merchant from a faraway land heard about the magic millstone and traveled across the sea to see it. When he arrived, the poor man welcomed him and used the millstone to prepare a lavish feast. The salt merchant, intrigued, asked, "Can your millstone grind salt?" "Of course," replied the poor man. "Just tap the top 3 times." The salt merchant offered to buy the millstone for a sack of gold, but no matter what he offered, the poor man refused to sell it. That night, while everyone slept, the greedy salt merchant stole the millstone and fled to his ship. By dawn, the merchant was far out at sea. Eager to test his prize, he placed the millstone on the deck and tapped the top 3 times. "Grind salt," he ordered, and soon salt began to pour out of the millstone. The merchant was overjoyed. But as more and more salt poured out, the merchant realized something terrible. The ship's hold was filling with salt, and it was getting heavier by the minute. "Stop! Stop!" he screamed, but the millstone kept turning, pouring salt endlessly. The ship began to sink, weighed down by the mountain of salt, until it disappeared beneath the waves. Legend has it that the millstone still lies at the bottom of the sea, grinding salt to this very day. That's why the sea is salty.